The Falcon 9 rocket, SpaceX's workhorse, has won 3 new geostationary satellite launch contracts from South Korea and the Middle East. All 3 contracts, 2 from Arabsat and 1 from KTSAT, build on SpaceX's existing successful relationships with both companies. Welcome to First Class Tech, and in this video, we'll take a look at some updates about the Falcon 9 rocket and the new geostationary satellite launches. Curious to know? Let's find out. SpaceX launched the first of several missions for South Korea in 2017, with KTSAT's Koreasat 5A mission. In 2020, SpaceX launched South Korea's ANASIS-2 military communication satellite, which was built by Lockheed Martin as a bonus to secure an order for F-35 jets. Last August, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched South Korea's first interplanetary spacecraft on its way to the moon. The Korean Pathfinder lunar orbiter will attempt to enter lunar orbit as early as December. KTSAT has announced that it will replace its existing Koreasat 6 spacecraft with a new Thales-Alenia space satellite, Koreasat SA. The 3.5-ton communication satellite will be launched into geostationary transfer orbit by a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket no later than 2025. Arabsat, a Middle Eastern connectivity provider, announced 1 week after KTSat that SpaceX will launch both of the company's upcoming geostationary communication satellites. A Falcon 9 rocket built by Thales-Alenia Space is scheduled to launch Arabsat 7A at an undetermined time, most likely in 2024 or 2025. Arabsat placed an order for the satellite in April 2022. After several delays, SpaceX's first Falcon Heavy Block 5 rocket launched on its first mission for a paying customer, Arabsat, in April 2019. The rocket successfully delivered the company's large Arabsat SA communication satellite into a super-synchronous geostationary transfer orbit with an apogee of more than 90,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface. In the same announcement, Arabsat revealed that SpaceX's Falcon 9 workhorse will also launch BADR-8, an Airbus-built 4.5-ton geostationary communication satellite. BADR-8 was ordered in August 2020 and is scheduled to launch in 2023. Koreasat SA, Arabsat 7A, and BADR-8 are among approximately 90 commercial Falcon launches planned between now and 2023, with approximately 25 carrying geostationary satellites. The company announced on April 29 that it had signed a contract for Arabsat 7A with Thales-Alenia Space in Europe, which will build the satellite using its space-inspired platform. Although no specific launch date was provided, the company stated that Arabsat 7A will replace the majority of the existing C and Ku band capacity at 30.5 East on Arabsat 5A, which was launched in 2010 and has a 15-year expected operational life. Arabsat 7A will also have additional high-throughput Ku band capacity, allowing the company to expand its services in markets such as government and military, mobility, enterprise, and oil and gas. Arabsat currently has 10 satellites in 4 orbital positions. Arabsat 6A is co-located with Arabsat 5A at 30.5 East, which Arabsat refers to as a data hotspot. Software-defined communication payloads, unlike traditional bent-pipe geosatellites, can be reprogrammed in orbit to adapt to different areas and markets as demand changes. Geo operators are increasingly ordering them in response to industry uncertainty as existing and planned low Earth orbit mega-constellations disrupt the market. Arabsat's Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer, Hadi Al-Hassani, stated on March 21 during a Satellite 2022 panel that flexible geo-satellites are the solution to the LEO constellation competition. You'll see more and more FlexSat orders this year and in the coming years, he predicted. In 2021, software-defined satellites accounted for more than 80% of GEO high-throughput satellite orders. Only one of Thales-Alenia Space's 5 GEO orders announced in 2021 was for a fully software-defined satellite. However, all 4 GEO orders announced by the manufacturer this year have been for software-defined satellites. By the way, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can enjoy our future videos while getting updated. Getting back to the topic. Musk claims that SpaceX will be ready to launch its first orbital Starship in November 2022, possibly as early as late October. However, many significant obstacles remain. Musk took to Twitter on September 21st to provide a bit more specific insight into the company's next steps toward a crucial orbital launch debut. adding to a welcome burst of insight into SpaceX's fully reusable Starship rocket program. On September 19th, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk revealed that the Starship booster currently assigned to that debut would be returned to the factory for mysterious robustness upgrades, an expected move coming just days after a seemingly successful and record-breaking static fire test. Musk has indicated 2 days later that those upgrades may include fortifying Super Heavy Booster 7's thrust section to ensure it can withstand Raptor engine failures. With 33 Raptor V2 engines powering it and plenty of evidence that those Raptors are far from perfect in terms of reliability, the concern is understandable, even if SpaceX's response is unusual. Prior to the start of Starship's orbital launch debut, SpaceX rushed through Starship development as if it wanted to destroy as many rockets as possible, which it did to some extent. Rather than spending 6 to 12 months tinkering with the same few prototypes without a single launch attempt, SpaceX produced and aggressively tested Starships in test articles. SpaceX pushed a little too hard at times and made avoidable mistakes, but the majority of the failures produced massive amounts of data that were then used to improve future vehicles. High-altitude Starship flight testing was the project's holy grail, with SpaceX finishing, testing, and launching a new Starship 5 times in 6 months, culminating in the first fully successful high-altitude Starship launch and landing in May 2021. SpaceX's orbital flight test preparations have been almost unrecognizable in comparison. While there has been significant progress in the 16 months since SN15's successful launch and landing, it is clear that SpaceX has decided against taking significant risks. After spending more than 6 months slowly completing and testing the first orbital class pair, Super Heavy Booster 4 and Starship 20, SpaceX never even attempted a single Booster 4 static fire and unceremoniously retired both prototypes without attempting to fly either. We may never know why SpaceX canceled B4 and S20, or why the company appears to have revised its development strategy to be a little more conservative after clearly demonstrating the efficacy of moving fast and taking big risks. It's possible that winning a $3 billion contract that puts Starship at the forefront of NASA's effort to return astronauts to the moon has encouraged a more cautious approach. SpaceX was awarded the contract in April 2021. Even in its more cautious third phase, Starship development is still extremely hardware-rich, moving quickly, and discovering many problems on the ground rather than learning from flight tests. However, the third phase of Starship development is proceeding with greater caution than the first and second phases. Nonetheless, SpaceX appears to be getting closer to the first orbital launch of Starship. Musk believes that the company could be ready for the first launch attempt as early as late October, but that a November launch is highly likely. He believes SpaceX will have 2 pairs of orbital-class Starships and Super Heavy boosters ready for orbital flight by then, allowing for a quick return to flight following the first attempt. Musk is also excited about Super Heavy Booster 9, which has many design changes and a thrust section that will fully isolate all 33 Raptors from each other, which is critical for preventing engine failures from affecting others. Meanwhile, as Musk predicted, Super Heavy Booster 8 arrived at the launch pad on September 19th and will most likely be proof tested soon, while Booster 7 is upgraded back at the factory. As encouraging as that is, history has shown that reality, particularly when it comes to Starship's orbital launch debut, can differ significantly from the images Elon Musk paints. Musk, for example, predicted in September 2021 that SpaceX would conduct the first Super Heavy static fire at Starbase's orbital launch pad later that month. In reality, the crucial test took place 11 months later and with a completely different booster. This is to say that while significant progress has been made in recent months, SpaceX still has a significant amount of work ahead of it, almost all of which is uncharted territory. This is not to say that an orbital Starship launch attempt in November is impossible. However, given the numerous issues that Booster 7 and Ship 24 have encountered during much simpler tests, it's becoming increasingly unlikely that SpaceX will be ready to launch the pair before the end of 2022. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. What are your future predictions for the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket? Let us know in the comments. Like this video and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you